Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be using a lowland Dugtrio in the Great League. We haven't seen Dugtrio being utilized in the Great League, and we will be getting a 5-1 with this team. If you guys haven't already, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, turning notifications on. It will really help us a lot. And with that being said, let's get on with today's video. Alright guys, for the first round, my opponent's first Pokemon is a Skarmory. Skarmory is a Steel and Flying type Pokemon, meaning both of us will be doing neutral damage. My Play-Rough from my Azumarill will be doing not very effective damage due to Fairy types being resisted from Steel types. My opponent does throw in a Sky Attack, and he did get it before us. The thing that I wanted to do was try to get my charge move first, but since I do not have that double charge move for Ice Beam does charge up faster than Play-Rough. I would have gotten it faster, but my opponent does get that charge move first. It is okay. I am going to throw in a shield for this one to try and get as much damage as possible and to maybe get a shield off for my opponent as well. Sky Attack does go through. I am pretty low. I am one shot to that Sky Attack, and I do throw in a Play-Rough right here. Play-Rough will be doing not very effective damage once again, but we do see my opponent throwing his shield. And I do want to get as much damage as possible once again with this bubble from my Azumarill for my Wigglytuff to come in and farm him down with only Charm, get a good farm down, and to do more damage, since Dugtrio will be doing not very effective damage, since once again Skarmory is a Steel and Flying type Pokemon. So ground types will be doing not very effective damage against him. My opponent does make a swap out into Umbreon, which is really good for us. This is a really good start because Umbreon is an only dark type Pokemon, and fairy types are super effective against dark types. I think he did realize this was a mistake, and it does allow me to win this first round. Good game to my opponent. For the second round, my opponent's first Pokemon is an Umbreon. So this is once again a really good start for us, since Umbreon is an only dark type Pokemon, and as you guys know, Azumarill is a water and fairy type Pokemon, so we will be countering those dark types, and because of that, my opponent does make a really bad swap into that Gabite. It was a ground and dragon type Pokemon, so that did allow me to swap out into my Wigglytuff to get super effective damage off. My opponent then makes a swap out into Houndoom. Houndoom is a dark and fire type Pokemon, so my fairy types are still doing so much damage, although we are doing neutral damage. Fairy types are super effective against fairy types, but not very effective against fire types. And his final Pokemon, once again, is that Umbreon, and that is really nice for us. My Wigglytuff is really good health. With one shield left, these Charms are just going to be taking out so much damage from my opponent's Umbreon. 1 hit, 2 hit, I think it is like 8 hits before he does faint. Charm is just such a strong move. But the thing about Charm is, as you guys know, that your charge moves will be charging up super slow. But it is okay, because if you do have a Pokemon that is pretty tanky and can withstand those hits, and also getting that charge move, then Charm is really good for us. So here's one shot. I am going to shield just to get it over with, and it does allow me to win that second round. Good game to my opponent. For the third round, my opponent's first Pokemon is an Alolan Raichu. So this is a really bad start for us, since Alolan Raichu is an electric and psychic type Pokemon, making him do super effective damage against my Azumarill. And because of that, because he is an electric type Pokemon, it did allow me to swap out into my Dugtrio. And as you guys saw, that one Mud Slap did so much damage, but my opponent does make a swap out into Blaziken, and he is one shot for my Mud Slap. He did make a swap out into Blaziken, not because he did want me to win, is because he did have a fighting type fast move counter. Dugtrio, if you guys didn't know, is a ground and steel type Pokemon. That Earthquake just did so much damage against that Venusaur. It did faint him, actually, and it did make my opponent surrender, allowing me to win that third round. Good game to my opponent. For the fourth round, my opponent's first Pokemon is a Clefable. Clefable is an only Fairy-type Pokemon, and Azumarill is a water and Fairy-type Pokemon, but once again, as you guys know, Charm is just such a strong move. I am doing less damage, but my charge moves are charging up way faster. But I do think that having a stronger fast move is more important than having charge moves if you do have shields, because as you guys know, there are 2 shields in the game, so you can easily just charge those. My opponent does make a swap out into Mandibuzz. I am going to get a bit energy from that farm down on the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is a dark and flying type Pokemon, so that does allow me to swap out into my Wigglytuff, since fairy types are super effective against dark types. Once again, we are doing a lot of damage since fairy types are super effective against dark types. He is doing not very effective damage. Due to dark types being not very effective damage against fairy types. We are just getting a really good farm down. We do not have to shield anything, since Aerial Ace, Dark Pulse, or Foul Play, anything like that will be doing not very effective damage. My opponent does make a swap out into Stunfisk. After my Wigglytuff does faint, or if my swap cooldown does finish, I will swap out into my Alolan Dugtrio to get super effective damage off, since as you guys know, G-Fisk is a ground and steel type Pokemon. Ground types will be doing super effective damage against him due to his steel type. Rock Slide does come through, and it did neutral damage, and that did do so much damage against us. I could have swapped either to my Azumarill or my Dugtrio. It didn't really matter. I did swap back out into Azumarill. I didn't know why, but I think I did. It was because I did have that play off loaded up, and I did want to get a shield off. He is down 1 shield now, and I may just try to go for the farm down, since we are doing super effective damage with my bubble, since water types are super effective against dark types. My opponent does throw in a rock slide that would have fainted my Azumarill probably. Rock types will be doing neutral damage against my Azumarill. I am not going to throw in a shield here. If it does faint us, it is okay, but I don't think that it will. We will survive with only a little HP left, and we do have a player off charged up. My opponent cannot go for the hard farm down. If he does go for the hard farm down, then he will faint. But if he does go for the hard farm down and he does pull it off, he will totally faint my Dugtrio, since he does have Earthquake as one of his charge moves that he can learn. He is 1 HP. He is 1 shot to that Mud Slap from my Dugtrio, so I will swap out to my final Pokemon, which is Dugtrio. Since I do have Earthquake as such a strong charge move, he does have 0 shields to shield anything. His final Pokemon is that Clefable, and since Dugtrio is a ground and steel type Pokemon, Clefable is doing not very effective damage to us, and that Psychic was also going to do not very effective damage against us, and it does allow me to win that 4th round. Good game to our opponent. For the 5th and final round, my opponent's first Pokemon is a Drifloon. Drifloon is a ghost and flying type Pokemon. Player Rough will be doing neutral damage against him, and if you guys didn't know, Drifloon usually runs Icy Wind or Shadow Wall as his double charge moves. Just watch out for those charge moves, since he will probably be using those. My opponent did throw in an Icy Wind on my Azumarill that barely did any damage, since ice types are not very effective against water types. But as you guys know, it is going to give my Azumarill an attack debuff, so that is still okay. The attack debuff does go away if we do swap out into another Pokemon. We are doing pretty good damage with only my bubble. My player off did not go through right there, but he is down 1 shield, which is still fine. Icy Wind is doing barely any damage against us. I will have to swap out into my Wigglytuff if my Azumarill does faint, since my Dugtrio will be doing not very effective damage due to ground types being not very effective against flying types. He does keep throwing Icy Winds and Shadow Balls on my Azumarill, and we are still surviving. We did do 0 shields, and that is really nice. My opponent still throws in another shield, even if we do have like triple attack debuffs. I am super close to that player off, but sadly I do not get it. I am not going to throw in the shield. He probably will not shield due to my attack being super low due to that Icy Wind. It is only an ominous wind. I think I wouldn't have survived, but I did decide to shield that since my playoff was already charged up. Once again, we are going to be doing a lot of neutral damage with that playoff, and my Azumarill finally goes down. He is down 0 shields once again, and he does get another icy wind off. If this is an ominous wind, that will be even better. It is an icy wind. I did want it to be an ominous wind since ghost types are not very effective against normal types. My opponent's final two Pokemon are Gengar and Wigglytuff, and that was really good for us since Dugtrio will be doing super effective damage against that Gengar. We are hoping to get at least one mud shot off from that Earthquake because it will probably get like 1/4 of his health away. And let's see if he does faint us. He does actually faint us. He is half health because of my Dugtrio. And we are going to be surviving those Shadow Punches, Shadow Balls. Those will be doing not very effective damage. But I do have to watch out for those Sludge Bombs. So I am going to have the shield here. It is actually a Sludge Bomb that would have done super effective damage since Poison types are super effective against Fairy types. And my Wigglytuff does survive. And it does allow us to win that 5th round. Good game to my opponent. Alright guys, so that will be the end of today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, and turning notifications on. Comment down below what you think of Dugtrio and if you guys are going to utilize him in the Great League. We are on the road to 100 subscribers once again, so please consider subscribing. It will really help the channel. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.